We're a married couple in our early 50s, and for the first time ever, we're actually slowing down to ask a question that we never really stopped to ask before. What would retirement actually look like for us at 53? At 56 or at 60, and not just emotionally, but financially especially. How much could we realistically spend after taxes? How long could the money last? What happens with healthcare before Medicare? Should we be doing a Roth IRA conversion and tax impacts of it? How do Social Security benefits decisions affect everything else? So much more to understand. And maybe the biggest question of all is, are we actually closer to retirement than we thought? Today, we are going to walk through a retirement planning case study that's been inspired by the kinds of conversations and planning scenarios we regularly help couples think through and visually see. We will show you several real planning visuals throughout this video so you can actually see how different retirement ages, tax strategies, Roth IRA conversion analysis, Social Security benefits timing, and net income decisions may impact your overall plan.
Now, my name is David Lumberg. I am the co-owner of Awaken Financial Designs. We are a flat fee fiduciary financial planning and tax strategy firm. I do have 2 master's degrees, a certificate in financial planning, and I am also a Marine veteran. Now, before we get into this here today, this is education only, not financial, tax, or legal advice. Be aware that the projections, the visuals, the assumptions utilized in here, there are so many variables to consider. This is for hypothetical example purposes only. And again, be aware of your own situation, your own goal, and your own needs that are on here, as actual results can vary depending on a number of variables that are out there. But again, this is an opportunity for everyone out there to see how our own team does our own planning process, how we do one-time plans, or how we do ongoing plans here with individuals as well, to give them what we call that true wealth and life alignment, to see when they could retire without guessing. They can see all the taxes and all the impacts with several visuals throughout. We'll be showing you what that can look like.
Yes, and I'm Ashley Lundberg. I'm co-founder of Awaken Financial Designs. I am a wellness coach and financial educator, and I have my master's degree in business leadership, and I am uniquely certified in pranayama, meditation, breathwork, and also we are both certified yoga instructors. We have been together for 20 years, and one thing that we have learned over the years is that retirement conversations are rarely just about financial and number only conversations. They are true real life conversations, relationship conversations, energy conversations, and often there are conversations people have been avoiding for a very long time simply because they never felt clear enough to begin. And that's part of what we hope this video helps create today with numerous visuals throughout. A little more clarity, a little more awareness, and maybe a different perspective overall on what may actually be possible. Now, before we jump into retirement projections and visuals at age 53, 56, and 60 for that married couple, we want to pause for just a moment. Because one thing that we've learned over the years is that conversations about money, retirement, taxes, and future often create more stress in the nervous system than people truly realize. And when that nervous system is stressed, it becomes much harder to think clearly. So before we open the software, walk through the numbers, let's take less than a minute together to slow things down a little to enhance our focus. If you'd like to join us, again, we are certified yoga teachers and breathwork focus to enhance wealthy living. We're simply going to take 3 slow breaths in the nose, hold gently at the top for about 4 seconds. 1, 2, and then slowly exhale through the mouth for 4 seconds. And David is going to demonstrate like he is. So go ahead and take a deep breath in through the nose. Hold it for about 4 seconds. And then slowly exhale through the mouth for 4 seconds. We'll do this about 2 more times. In. Hold. One more. Beautiful. We hope that you feel just a little more grounded and present. Now, let's meet Josh and Sarah to truly understand their present financial and life situation and what retirement at age 53, 56, or 60 could look like at three very different retirement ages. Now, Josh and Sarah are a married couple living in the Research Triangle area of North Carolina. Josh is 51, Sarah is 50. And for the first time, they're beginning to seriously ask the question many couples quietly carry for years. What would life actually look like if they retired at 53, at 56, or at 60? How much could they realistically spend after taxes net? How long would that money last? Would healthcare before Medicare become a problem? Should they be doing a Roth IRA conversion? What are the tax impacts of Roth IRA conversions? And do they truly need $2 or $3 million to retire? Or is that simply a number that they've repeated for years without ever really testing it? Josh and Sarah have spent decades building careers, raising their child, managing responsibilities, taking family vacations, and trying to create a good life together. They've done many things right financially, but like many successful couples, they've never actually slowed down long enough to see how the pieces of the puzzle all fit together visually, which we will be showing you today throughout. And that's exactly what we're going to walk through today. We're going to visually show both of them and you what the example only retirement plan may look like across three different retirement timelines.
Yeah, so let's go over the present situation so we can understand where they're presently at, and then we can look at where they can get to, what those impacts are visually throughout here as well. So again, Josh, he works as a director at a technology company and earns approximately $195,000 annually. But he also gets restricted stock units or RSUs. They vest at approximately $60,000 each year, and they're projected out over the next 3 years. So $60,000 for each year. That means another $180,000 of future coming in from the RSUs. Now, Sarah, she works at operations in the biotech pharmaceutical space. Her base income is approximately $150,000 annually, with an additional performance bonus of around $30,000 each year. So together, in a full working year, their household income is about $435,000. Now, as you can see here on the screen, here's kind of a visual showing you the ages, their incomes, their child is currently 21 years old, their home value and home equity, and their investable asset breakdown, we'll be going over here more as well. Now, their total investments today are about $1.1 million amongst all the various accounts. And this is where planning starts to become much more nuanced. Because where the money sits can matter almost as much as how much is there. They also approximately have about $680,000 in equity in their home. Now, we are not going to include the home equity in the retirement planning software or financial planning software on here for projections, but it absolutely does matter. It is real wealth, but the financial planning softwares, we utilize home equity and home value differently. So for this purposes on here, keep in mind they do have a home, there is equity on there, but it's different on here.
That is good to know.
So let's walk through their 5 retirement and tax layers that we use in our own planning process here. So our first layer on here is that taxable brokerage account or that non-qualified account. Now today that account has about $130,000. $70,000 is the cost basis. About $50,000 is that long-term capital gains. And the remaining amount is currently short-term capital gains, but that can grow into long-term gains later. This account, keep in mind, has no age restrictions. So you can take it out at 50. 55, take it out at 58. There's no penalty fees on there or withdrawals on there for that flexibility layer. Then we have our second layer that we call on here, which is our tax deferred bucket. This is that 401k and that traditional IRA. Now, Josh's 401k is about $520,000. Sarah has $220,000. Josh has his own traditional IRA, about $23,000. Sarah has her own IRA, about $39,000. So they have a little over $800,000 in pre-retirement or tax-deferred accounts, which is their largest pool, but there will be future tax complications with this. Now, our third layer we go into is our tax-free bucket. Like that Roth IRA on qualified withdrawals, they currently have about $128,000 amongst them both in that Roth IRA account. Again, not massive, but it is potentially very important to understand how that layer can fit into this. Now, our fourth layer on here is that restricted stock unit or RSU income. There are 3 more additional years because his company current says, hey, for the next 3 years projected out, you can get $60,000 each year. That's additional complexities to understand how that vesting works and the tax works on there. Now we have our fifth layer on here, which is that Social Security benefits and the broader projection layer of the plan, which we'll explore visually later and way more in depth, especially as a married couple with the Social Security benefit timing. Now they also have the health savings account or the HSA, which is an amazing benefit to have on there for a number of reasons. That's about $43,000 combined they have on there. That's so overlooked in retirement planning, especially towards healthcare costs before age 65 as well, which we'll also show you because there also could be a triple tax benefit to HSA account and tax-free qualified withdrawals with potential growth, depending how you save or invest the HSA money.
And this is the part that most couples never actually get to see visually in our wealth and life alignment plans. Not one account at a time, but all of them together in their own visual plan, how they interact, how they're taxed, how healthcare changes the picture, how retirement age changes the picture, how one decision affects another, and so much more. And often that is the moment that entire conversation changes, because retirement planning is rarely just about how much money someone has alone. It's about understanding how all the layers work together and what kind of life those layers may actually support.
Yeah, let's revisit here really quick on that, those pieces, that restricted stock units, right? Josh, again, has that $60,000 a year. What people don't understand is that at 51, roughly December, that's how his company does it, he'll get $60,000. The next year in December, if he's still there, another $60,000. Year 3 in December, he's still there with $60,000. Keep in mind, when they vest, they are taxed. So whether you sell that stock or you keep the stock, it doesn't matter. When they vest, that is how they are taxed. And we're going to show a quick visual here on the screen so you can see that as well. Now, for someone else that has RSUs, right, it's not about a matter of always getting more money. Maybe they had 3 years at age 53, which we'll see in a minute. They quit working, they have those RSUs. But his company will keep giving out more RSUs projected 3 years out. So even though at 53, maybe he could retire, which we're going to find out here, he wants to get another $180,000, then another $180,000, right? It's kind of like that golden handcuff type vibe. But the company will keep giving you incentives to stay longer. But at some point in time, this is where that couple has to go, how much is enough? Do we really need to keep having more money? Or is a year or years of life more beneficial to us, which we're going to look at here in a few moments, but that's that emotional side as well.
Yeah, but those decisions often come with trade-offs. Additional working years may increase that future flexibility while also increasing current taxable income. And this is where truly that thoughtful planning becomes important, because retirement timing is often not just about investment growth. It's about understanding, right, how that compensation, taxes, healthcare, retirement accounts, and future income layers interact cohesively together. So the RSUs or restricted stock units are not just a compensation benefit. They truly become part of the planning conversation itself. When Josh decides to step away, it changes what the entire plan may look like. And this is something that many couples in technology or executive careers do not fully realize at first. In many companies, employees often need to remain employed through a specific vesting date or into the next calendar year for those RSUs to fully vest. So retirement timing, right, becomes sometimes much more nuanced decision than simply choosing an age. And emotionally, this is where many couples begin to realize retirement is not always a single decision. It's often a series of coordinated decisions made over several years that gradually create the flexibility to step away more intentionally.
So now let's begin to look at the 3 possible retirement timelines for Josh and Sarah. We're going to explore visually with financial and tax software, data, charts, and graphs of what that would be for their own situation at ages 53, 56, and 60. And we're going to intentionally show the spending on 56 here, because that is really where we go over more in-depth decisions, especially around the Roth IRA conversion strategy, the analysis. Do I do a Roth IRA? not do a Roth IRA. How much? What are the pros, the cons, the break-evens? We're going to look at the taxes, the net income layers. Remember, gross is before tax. We look at the net, what you actually keep and bring home on there. But to see all three timelines side by side, so you as well can see how this planning process works.
Yeah, age 53 is the earliest possible exit, right after Josh's remaining RSUs fully vest. Age 56 is where that plan becomes more nuanced and where many of the deeper tax, like David said, retirement planning decisions begin. And age 60, that's where many people probably consider that more traditional, comfortable scenario because that's just what they're used to. But one of these questions we consistently encourage couples to ask is this: what exactly are those additional years of work buying? Yes, they may create more income, more savings, more financial margin, but they also cost something. They cost the years of the time, years of energy, years of freedom, and years of life lived truly before retirement. And that does not automatically mean retiring earlier is better. It simply means that the trade-off should be understood intentionally instead of assumed automatically. So, as we walk through these three timelines visually, we want you to think more about just the numbers. We want you to think about those numbers may actually support.
So let's start here with age 53. And if they were to retire and both step away from work completely on here, look at those assumptions as well. But the margin's very tight here. Yeah. Remember, as a financial planner and educator, it's my job to show you the choices, to show you the impacts, to give you my own opinion and perspective. But it's your job to discuss it with your partner or your spouse, how that feels to your own self, if that's something you want to do on there. So this first visual we have coming up here says, hey, at age 53, what does that look like to my life, right? So let's look here at this visual that we now have on the screen, looking at age 53, and we can see that their total net monthly income, they can have roughly $7,500 a month projected to spend net of taxes at age 53. And you can see it says net in that green box there. As you can see, the years highlighted there as well. Now, this projected to age of death, it's typically age 85, projected to age of death. But they can see, hey, at age 53, if we were to retire and step away, we're looking at roughly $7,500. We could have net of taxes. Below there, we kind of have what we call guardrails, depending on how your investments, the market, the economy performs. Some months could be as high as $9,200 a month. Your worst case scenarios could be as low as $7,100 a month, but our medium number is that $7,500 number, which we want to look at. Now, we have to also keep in mind about healthcare. Right? We can use the Affordable Care Act. There will be an out-of-pocket expense for that, which we will go into deep later on. We're showing visuals even on healthcare later on here as well. We also have to be aware about Social Security benefit income. That's not going to start until earliest around age 62, which we get into more as well. And then, of course, the Roth IRA conversion opportunities, they may exist during these bridge years, we kind of call them, when the window becomes compressed because of retirement. So this scenario is just assuming, hey, at age 53, this is what it could look like on here. It's not really optimal, though, from my perspective. So we're going to go into the next ones on here regarding ages 56 and 60 as well.
And this is where I stop thinking only about spreadsheets and start really thinking about what this life would actually feel like. So for couples who've been living on more than $400,000 of an annual household income, moving into a retirement lifestyle built around approximately $90,000 after taxes is a very significant shift, a shift in the mindset. That does not automatically make it wrong, but some couples make that transition beautifully, especially if the freedom, flexibility, lower stress, or time together matter more to them than maintaining the same spending lifestyle. But this is also where honesty becomes important. Josh and Sarah need to ask themselves, would this version of retirement actually feel good to us? Would it feel peaceful or restrictive? Would retiring earlier create more freedom, or would it create more financial anxiety? And this is one of the biggest reasons we believe thoughtful retirement planning truly matters so much, because the goal is not simply to stop working as early as possible. It's to truly understand what different choices may realistically support, both financially and emotionally.
Yeah, so I mean, age 53, as we saw, it might work, right? Not in my opinion or my perspective, what I would say, based on their lifestyle and life choices they want. But again, it's showing them the evidence and the facts.
Right.
Now, let's move all the way to the other side of the spectrum, right? Which is going to be what happens until age 60 if
60.
Josh and Sarah will continue working. Before we come back to age 56, and at age 56, we spend a lot more time, especially on the Roth IRA conversion analysis at age 56.
Yeah.
But let's go to age 60 on here to see as well. But again, now that's 7 more years of working that they've done on here. So taking a look here at this visual coming up here on the chart now, we could see though, at age 60, get it pulled up here for you. There we go. So at age 60 now, and you can see yet again, the green boxes do show that year on there. So you can see that. You can see it is net of taxes. Now they get roughly about $11,324 a month. So again, $11,324 a month they can have, as opposed prior age 53, it was about $7,500 a month on there. So there is a difference you can see on there.
That is,
It's projected, that is per month net of taxes, projected until age of death, but roughly $11,300 at that age 60. That is different, but again, we still have Medicare and healthcare, we still have Social Security benefit timing and so much more, but that gives them that number before we circle back to age 56, where we go more in depth in these other factors.
Yeah, so David, what do those additional working years actually buy Josh and Sarah compared to retiring earlier? Yes, there is more money, more margin, more financial flexibility, and for some couples, continuing working longer may absolutely feel worthwhile. Maybe they still enjoy their careers, maybe the stress is manageable, maybe they feel energized by the work itself. But is there an important question underneath all of this? What is the trade-off for those additional years? Because every additional working year may potentially create more wealth, right? But that also represents more time, more energy, and more life lived before, the retirement begins. And only Josh and Sarah can truly ultimately decide what that trade-off is worth to them.
Yeah, and again, money, numbers, and math and data, it's 100% important, but it's not the only thing that just matters, right? There's the emotional side, the belief side. It's how a person feels about that retirement. It's how a couple feels about that retirement as well. But now let's get back to age 56. Now we're going to spend a lot more time at age 56 because this also goes over the Roth IRA conversion analysis.
Like
do we do a Roth
basically.
IRA? Not do a Roth IRA. What are the tax impacts? What are my income impacts on here?
So many.
What about
so
Social Security benefit timing, especially as a married couple?
Right.
Does one go earlier, later, both go later? How do we optimize that with visuals? We're going to be showing you here also. But this is making that meaningful difference on here so we can actually see what is happening. So make an analysis coming up on the screen here. We have the age 56. Now this is age 56, no Roth IRA conversions yet. We're going to be showing that next. So at age 56, if they both retire, now we're at about $9,700 a month net of taxes they could spend each month until the projected age of death. So again, no Roth IRA conversion yet, which we're going to show here in a moment, but at age 56 now, it's about $9,700 a month on there, which is a difference from the prior chart at age 53 that we saw on here. And this is more of a reasonable number potentially that they could look at to see, hey, is that a number that makes sense for us overall? Now, we also have the restricted stock units or RSUs that have additional 3 more years on top of that. Because keep in mind, he got about $60,000 each year for RSUs on top of that. And Sarah was getting about a bonus of about $30,000 each year too. Now, we of course have all of our accounts have also grown in value, from the taxable brokerage account to the 401ks to the IRAs to the Roth IRAs, the contributions we're putting in there, and the tax changes too. And under this base scenario, right, we have our projected income, which we saw on here at that age 56.
Yeah, and this is the moment that I truly think about most when we truly work with couples, because for the first time, they are no longer looking at the individual account statements separately. They're seeing the entire picture all together, all the kits and caboodles, I like to say, the 401ks, the Roth accounts, the brokerage accounts, the RSUs, future Social Security, healthcare, taxes, all coordinated inside the plan. So many components. And something shifts truly emotionally when that happens, not just mathematically, but internally, because that's a feeling, because clarity changes people. It changes the stress. the fear, the uncertainty, and often it changes what people believe may actually be possible for their life.
Now, obviously, too, when they retire earlier here at the age 56 on there's a gap here until Social Security benefits can kick in, and that could be 6 to 9 years, depending on how that works out for them, which you're going to look at. So they're going to have to use maybe that taxable income with that long-term capital gains they have, maybe their cost basis they have, using that standard deduction and other areas to lower taxes as much as possible. But keep in mind, they still have other items to look at, like that Roth IRA conversion. So let's get into a popular thing now on the Roth IRA conversion at age 56. I'm going to show you numerous tax screens, numerous bar graphs, and charts to see what this looks like for them and how this actually impacts them coming up here on the screen. Now, in the software on there, we look at a number of things. And the first thing we have to go with software is, hey, if we were to convert any of this money, what are some optimal areas? And you can see there's about 20 different ones in the software we look at on there, from looking at the Roth IRA conversion to the 10% bracket, the 12% bracket, 22% bracket, up to 35% bracket. We look at going up to the IRMA brackets on there. IRMA bracket 1, 2, 3, and 4. We look at doing a max Roth IRA conversion as well. So the software runs all these numbers, which include your city, state, and federal taxes as well, in addition to your income, to see what might be optimal. So in this example today, we're going to show the 22% bracket. So they're going to fill up the Roth IRA conversions up to that 22% bracket each year optimally here in the software to see what that benefits on there and how that could actually help them overall, so we could see what happens. Now, when we do that Roth IRA conversion, right, we have to remember now too is back to that income chart. When we do the Roth IRA conversion, now we're looking at roughly about $6,900 a month net of taxes they can spend. So $6,900 net of taxes they can spend, as opposed to the prior series we saw that didn't have the Roth IRA. Now they are paying taxes. So the income does get lower on there. But we have to always ask on there, what is the break-even points on here? So let's take a look here at our next kind of visual chart that I'd like to see on here. And we like to see, hey, if they did this Roth IRA conversion up to the 22% brackets on there, at what year would they potentially break even being married with the tax rates? And Ashley, what is that current year you see?
Yeah, it's the year 2057.
So that's right. So the year 2057, you can see the yellow and the blue lines cross.
Where they
the yellow line now is where you start to save money with that Roth IRA as it goes way up there. The blue line is if you kept nothing on this. So you can see after 2057, the savings and the protections really start to pile up on there regarding the year. But let's also take a look here at another tax chart that's coming up on the screen. And we can see on here, we have a column on the left. If we converted it to that 22% bracket with our cumulative taxes paid, roughly $352,000. As opposed to doing nothing on the far right, the cumulative taxes paid. Now we can see that year 2057, the break-even point. They're about ages 82 and 81. That's our break-even point in taxes. But then we say, well, if they did that though, and they lived to be 90 and 89 as an example, because they did that Roth conversions, they've only had cumulative taxes of $352,000. If they didn't do the conversions, potentially they would have paid $615,000. Now again, that's assuming tax rates stay as is and a number of other factors. But if tax rates went up, savings could be earlier. If they stay the same, it could be savings. But you can see they start to save much more money and time as that occurs. It continues on here. We also have to look at, hey, what about healthcare? What about the IRMA? So we do have other charts that look at filling up those brackets, as you can see on here. They look at the IRMA brackets that go towards Medicare on there as well, because keep in mind that does have a 2-year look back when it comes time for Medicare. So these are all some of many important charts we look at when we're trying to do this Roth IRA conversion to see if this is beneficial for them. And have to keep in mind there's other factors to consider here.
Yeah, and let's be honest about what that really means. That is real money. It's not just a tax decision. It's a lifestyle decision a couple has to make together, because the trade-off is happening in the present in exchange for possible future benefits, lower taxes later, larger tax-free assets, more flexibility, and potentially greater protection for surviving spouse and future legacy.
Yeah, now let's go back into the Roth IRA conversions and regarding healthcare that are on there. Now, because they are retiring earlier at that age 56 on here potentially, we have to be aware that the Affordable Care Act, or healthcare.gov, they might have subsidies on there saying, hey, depending on your income level, you might get a discount on healthcare, you might get a bigger discount or maybe no discount whatsoever on there. So of course, doing the Roth IRA conversions, that increases the taxable income. Therefore, you're not going to be getting a subsidy on that healthcare. But keep in mind though, you have other taxable benefits later on in life, as we saw in the prior plans. Now, let's take a look here at what healthcare can cost, because if you're going to retire earlier, you have to have that awareness,
Correct.
right?
Yeah,
and
that's very
one of the
important.
easiest ways is you can go to healthcare.gov, which you can see on the screen coming up here. And we just kind of said, okay, you know what? For a married couple in North Carolina, if they were to go ahead and say take what's called the bronze plan in 2026, I mean, they're looking at roughly about $1,600 per month. Or if they had a gold plan on there, that's roughly about $2,200 per month they can have each year until Medicare kicks in about age 65. So again, it's not a bad thing. It's just about being proactive and being aware of what the healthcare costs are. It's being aware that, hey, if I do a Roth IRA conversion, it increases my taxable income. Therefore, I'm not going to be able to get those subsidies maybe on the Affordable Care Act. But again, that's just the healthcare side. We're looking at the bigger picture down the road. We're looking at other tax planning opportunities, other tax planning protections, and not to mention when you're married, what happens to that surviving spouse, which we're going to look at.
Yeah, and this is why thoughtful planning again becomes nuanced, because most important financial decisions are not the perfect answer decisions. They're the trade-off decisions. So David, this is not just about taxes. This affects what they spend now, what they keep later, and how protected the surviving spouse may ultimately be, correct?
Correct. Yeah. So when it comes to like a Roth IRA conversion, we have several videos prior on here, but when you're married, especially on here, and even when you're in general, but when you pass away and you have an IRA, that spouse or person gets an inherited IRA. And when they take money out, that's still taxed as income. However, if you have a Roth IRA and you pass away, then that surviving spouse gets a inherited Roth IRA. And that inherited Roth IRA, it's tax-free to that surviving spouse on those qualified withdrawals. So now the surviving spouse doesn't have to pay taxes on there. Just keep in mind too, you're going from a married filing jointly tax bracket to a single tax bracket. You're going from a higher standard deduction to a lower standard deduction. So taxes will be more, but if you could have that Roth IRA that you give to that surviving spouse, that could be a meaningful impact in addition.
And this is truly like the part that many couples never fully think about. It's the conversation about what happens when one of us is gone, right? I mean, yes, like it's sad, but it's not a morbid conversation. It's a loving one, because you want to make sure that that spouse is taken care of, because the decisions made today about the taxes, about the structure, about Roth conversations, and about long-term planning, they may directly affect, right, how that surviving spouse lives the rest of their life.
Exactly. So let's just take one reminder here on that Roth IRA conversions again. At age 56, if they did the Roth IRA conversions, we're about $6,900 a month. Again, $6,900 a month net of taxes, as opposed to no Roth IRA conversions. We're at $9,700 on there in taxes. So you can see it's roughly almost $3,000. So it's almost $3,000 more in net income they could spend while they're alive, as opposed to doing the Roth IRA conversions. It gets them less money to spend, but keep in mind that break-even point. Keep in mind that big tax difference after the break-even point. Keep in mind that legacy planning there as well. Plus, it's tax protection too. You're kind of hedging on the taxes because you don't know if tax rates do go up, the Roth IRA could become more valuable as well. So we want to be aware of that. Now, let's move into the other big question in this, which is the Social Security benefit optimization on here. Now, that Social Security benefit optimization, I apologize here for my dog, everyone that is out there. Again, my apologies here, everyone. So that Social Security benefit optimization we are talking about is these tools. We don't want to just guess on this. We want to use math and evaluate, especially for this married couple on here, to see what happens. And most of the time with married couples, it's typically best to have the lower earning spouse we get it at age 62. And to have the higher one, get it at full retirement age 67, especially with the early retirement as well. But again, we utilize tools and softwares that we're visually going to show you here in a moment.
Yeah, and this is exactly why Social Security becomes such an important conversation for couples, because the decision of one spouse makes directly affects what the other spouse may potentially live on later in life. It's not two isolated decisions, it's one coordinated plan. And just like David said earlier, this is why we encourage people not to simply guess or assume the answer is obvious. Waiting longer is not automatically better because the monthly benefit amount is higher. So the real question is, how does the claiming strategy fit into the overall life and retirement plan being built?
And this is when all those 5 layers that we mentioned earlier on here start to fit together as one cohesive piece, and they can't be isolated. So let's come back to on here, right? Josh and Sarah, the ages 51 and 50. They wanted to do the first series, like, when could we retire? Can we retire at age 53? At age 56, at age 60, what does that net income look like? Should we do a Roth IRA conversion that we went over at age 56 and we showed you all the impacts that are on there? And then do we claim at age 62 or 65 or 67 on Social Security? And you don't want to guess on here, right? And that's why the Social Security Administration or SSA.gov, they have a website you can go to for free. You can log in to find out what your potential benefits might be on there. And they even have a tool on there that says, hey, if I quit working earlier in life, you can put 0 income years on there. So we always encourage people to go on there and to look at the Social Security benefits. But let's take a look here at Josh and Sarah just to see what that could look like with this visual coming up here. Now, you can see on here again, it's a big tool, but you can see we do have Josh and Sarah. We have her claiming at age 62, him claiming at age 67. Because keep in mind, when one spouse passes away, you only keep one check, you don't get both checks. So the higher spouse's benefit amount is kept by the surviving spouse on there. You can also see the projected age of death. We also have on there in green boxes. And again, you can see that they did this. It's about 92% maximize or optimize in the benefits. You can see in there too that the lifetime benefit amount is roughly $1.3 million on this tool. This is one tool of many when it comes to Social Security benefits that you want to utilize and you don't want to guess. And this is one tool in addition to the Roth IRA analysis, in addition to your income planning, in addition to when you could retire. These are the visuals that you need to see as part of your whole plan overall for the numbers.
Yeah, and if you've watched this case study and something inside you quietly thought, I wonder what our numbers would actually look like. I wonder what age we may potentially be able to retire. That feeling is worth paying attention to. A lot of couples spend 20 or 30 years heads down, building careers, raising families, autopilot, managing responsibilities, trying to do the right things financially. And they never fully pause long enough to actually see what their timeline may potentially look like, coordinating the planning. You do not need to know whether $1 million or $3 million is the right number. What you need to know first is clarity, awareness, and a real understanding how your own life, taxes, accounts, income, and future decisions actually fit together. Because clarity is often what changes, right, the timeline.
And this is exactly why, as a flat fee fiduciary financial planner on here at our own firm, we have a one-time flat rate plan that we offer on here, which we call our wealth and life alignment plan, that goes over everything you saw in today's video and so much more. This is just a high-level overview of what you saw today. There's way more that goes on here. That way we help you, the couples and those individuals, actually see the full picture with that clarity, with that awareness, as Ashley was saying. You look at your taxes, you look at the income, you look at retirement goals, Social Security benefits on there, Roth IRA conversion analysis, restricted stock units, and so much more on there, right? It's your life, it's your situation, and it's your own decisions. And we are here to give you that information. We are here to show you the visual plans. We're here to give you our own opinions and our own perspectives, but ultimately it is your choice. And this one-time plan can be a great resource to help you with that.
Yes. And before we leave you today, we want to leave you with one final reflection. If your life, energy, health, and time were no longer organized primarily around work, what would you actually want that next chapter of your life together to look like? We appreciate you so much for being here with us, and we truly hope that this helped you begin seeing what may actually be possible a little more clearly.
Thank you.